My grandfather built the dam back in 1952. A solid 180 feet of compacted earth, reinforced with limestone he'd quarried himself from the hills in nearby Buncombe County. Two massive 36-inch cast-iron slide gates on the eastern side, installed by hand with the kind of precision that came from a lifetime of working the land. He put it there to hold back Willow Creek for irrigation, and for 7 decades, that's exactly what it did, his hands on the cranks, then my father's, then mine. But when I came home after 16 months away, I found strangers had turned the floodplain below it into their playground. And that's when the Real flood started. Not of water, but of lawyers, surveys, and a fight that would test just how far a man will go to protect what's his. I stepped out of my truck onto the familiar gravel road leading to the Thompson family property in rural Haywood County, North Carolina. The crunch under my tires was the same as always, a sound I'd known since I was a kid riding shotgun with Dad. The trees arched overhead like they had for generations, a canopy my grandfather had preserved when he cut the road. Take only what you need, he'd say. I'd been gone for that federal forestry gig in the Pacific Northwest, inventorying old-growth timber in the Cascades. It ran long, 4 months over schedule, because nature doesn't fit neatly into estimates. I checked in with my caretaker, Mike Johnson, every couple of weeks at first, then monthly as the work swallowed me up. His texts were short and to the point, like the man himself. They're grading your east field. Contractor back, paving. Benches in. Sign up. You need to see this. What I saw when I turned east off Highway 276 stopped me cold. The boundary fence was gone, moved back, enclosing a chunk of my land inside the neighboring subdivision's edge. Beyond it, a paved parking lot with 24 striped spaces, complete with a handicap spot and fresh landscaping. Shrubs still in their nursery shapes lined a split-rail fence. The whole thing sat where my brush line used to be, the wild edge of hardwoods and creek-bottom growth I'd let regenerate for 2 decades. Now it was flat, blacktopped, and manicured. Further in, 3 acres of my drainage corridor had been cleared, graded, and seeded with perfect turf grass, the kind mowed weekly by a zero-turn machine. 2 dark green benches faced the tree line, and a gravel trail curved into the woods, marked by a sign, Ridgeview Meadows Nature Preserve, maintained by the Ridgeview Meadows HOA. I stood there, staring. The trail map showed a 1.2-mile loop winding through my timber stand, crossing Willow Creek twice with bridges they'd installed without a word to me. Orange blazes dotted my trees every 100 feet or so. And people were using it. A woman with a stroller, 2 guys in workout gear, chatting as they hiked on my property. This wasn't just a mistake, it was an invasion. My heart pounded as I walked the perimeter, then hiked up to the dam. From the crest, I could see it all. The lot gleaming in the February sun, the benches right in the inundation zone, the area that would flood if the dam ever let loose. I pulled out my phone and called my lawyer, Laura Davis. The gate stayed put for now, but as I looked down, I wondered if paperwork alone could wash this away, or if I'd have to turn those cranks myself. Laura had handled our family affairs since 2009, the estate after Dad passed, timber easements, boundary disputes. She knew the land like her own backyard. "Tell me what you're seeing," she said. I described it all. The relocated fence, the parking, the benches, the trail, the sign claiming my acres as their preserve. "They put bridges in my creek," I said, "and the whole thing's below the dam." She paused. "Don't touch anything. Photograph everything. I'll get a surveyor out by week's end." Mike had been documenting since October. Over 200 photos, timestamped, detailed. He'd even filed a complaint with the county, but the HOA claimed it was their land, and the file closed without a survey. By Friday, the surveyor, David Inslee, confirmed what I knew. The boundary hadn't moved since grandfather bought the 340 acres in 1946 for $8,200. The HOA's fence was 80 feet inside my line. Every inch of their preserve, parking, field, trail, bridges, was on Thompson's soil. Laura fired off notifications. First, to the county floodplain admin. The park sat in FEMA Zone AE, the 100-year flood zone, with no development permit, no engineer certification. Grading 3 acres, paving impervious surface, structures in the creek, all violations. Then, the Army Corps of Engineers. Unauthorized fill in wetlands under Section 404 of the Clean Water Act. Wetland patches buried under gravel, bridge footings in the channel. No permit, federal offense. But the dam issue hit hardest. Our dam, registered low hazard since 1986, assumed empty downstream land. The park changed that. Regular human occupancy meant reclassification to significant hazard. That triggered engineer inspections, inundation maps, emergency plans. Cost from $85,000 to $140,000, all on me, because some developer decided my floodplain looked pretty. Laura looped in an expert, Marcus Webb, who argued the HOA caused it all. The state dam safety program agreed, starting the review immediately. I called the HOA president, Robert Hayes, from the dam crest. He'd been in development 20 years, always answering his phone. I described what he'd built below my gates. His defense. The strip was abandoned, improved in good faith. Adverse possession laws might recognize community use. I let him finish. Mr. Hayes, that's my creek, my floodplain, and my dam's holding back 4 acres of water above your benches. Call your lawyer before your residents show up tomorrow. Silence. I hung up and stared at the gates, cranks cold in the winter air. I didn't turn them. Not yet. Robert's lawyer, Michael Reed, tried adverse possession. Open use for 14 months, $187,000 invested. But 14 months wasn't the 10 years North Carolina required. Laura countered with Mike's photos, the survey, and a bombshell from subpoenaed records. Robert had hired an attorney, James Miller, in August for a boundary check. James's letter was clear. County records showed John Thompson as owner. Cease construction immediately if survey confirms. Robert ignored it, didn't tell his board, finished the park 11 weeks later. That letter turned negligence into willfulness, opening punitive damages. The board minutes showed dissent. Susan Baker and David Lee voted no, demanding a $3,000 survey before the $187,000 spent. Robert overruled with a landscaper's casual walk. Now, with agencies piling on, county court, dam safety, the pressure built. Michael wanted resolution. Laura gave 10 days for a remediation plan. None came. She filed in Superior Court. Trespass, floodplain violations, dam damages, unjust enrichment punitives. Demand, $1.224 million plus fees. Removal and restoration, $94,000. Floodplain fix, $138,000. Dam compliance, $115,000. Restitution, $187,000 to HOA funds. Diminished value, $210,000. Punitives, $480,000 for post-notice work. The Corps issued violations. Wetland fill, floodplain structures, no retroactive permit. Mandatory removal, $138,000 estimate. Federal, unstoppable by settlement. The dam program ordered $90,000 escrow for my inspections. Robert's board met in crisis. Susan documented his unraveling. Negotiations dragged 8 weeks. Robert tried easements, licenses denied. Everything came out. Asphalt milled, gravel excavated, bridges lifted, fence restored. Native seeding under Corps oversight. By November's end, the corridor was raw earth turning green, creek flowing clean. The HOA ousted Robert 142-11. Susan took over, surveyed their actual land, sent me an apology signed by all. The dam reverted to low hazard. Escrow refunded minus costs. I adjusted the gates back to normal, watching Willow Creek run as it should. Mike joined me one cold morning. 214 photos, he said. Worth it, I replied. Evid guana painful. I looked at the water. Didn't need to. Paperwork handled it. He nodded. Still would have been something. In the end, justice flowed through courts, not cranks. The land healed, boundaries clear, no blood spilled. But it makes you think about power grabs, neighborly wrongs, and choosing law over vengeance. What do you think? Share in the comments. Should folks always turn to the system for justice? Or is there a place for taking matters into your own hands when faced with injustice? Especially on themes of violence and unfairness in everyday life. Take a stand, express your view. Let's discuss.